Control and Coordination. Class X.
Introduction. Control and coordination. All humans have a basic need to control and coordinate all the movements occurring in them. One of the most requirements of controlling all the factors of the body is a system of rapid communication. All the cells, tissues and organs do not work independently. They work together as one team. For example, during the process of ingestion, the eyes locate food, nose registers smell, hands pick up the food, mouth opens to eat it, teeth chew it, saliva masticates it. So you can see so many parts are involved in a single task. But there has to be coordination between them. This coordination is known as control and coordination. What do we mean by control and coordination? It means working of a body in a systematic manner. Like you all know that we have a complex system, but it is of a very advanced type. All the processes taking place in our body are very complicated, and still the body is working so efficiently. The whole body systems are interconnected and work like a team. As you all know that suppose you eat food and our stomach should be prepared with gastric juices to digest it. Likewise, there are many processes that are occurring as a result of this control and coordination system. For control and coordination, there is a system inside our body which is known as the nervous system and the hormonal system. Let us first discuss about the nervous system. Like we have discussed that structural and functional unit of any system are its cells. In the same way, cells of the nervous system are called neuron. Structure of neuron. It consists of three parts: axon, dendrite, cell body or satan. The irregular structure is called a cell body that encloses a nucleus in the neoplasm. From cell body small branches arise called as the dendrite on the upper side. On the lower side it gives out only one branch that is elongated called the axon. The whole neuron is made up of neurolemma. Axon ends into the nerve endings. Function of the dendrite is to receive impulse, and the function of the axon is to deliver it to another neuron. That is called the nerve impulse conduction. Neurons link together and form nerve. Three types of nerves. Sensory nerve, it carries the impulses from the sense organs to the brain. Motor nerve, it brings the messages from the brain to the sense organs. Relay nerve, it serves both the function. Neuron is of two types. Mediated neuron. Non-mediated neuron. In mediated neuron, a special type of sheath is present called the myelin sheath and is made up of proteins and fats. The points on axon where this sheath is absent is called nodes of Ranvier. Non-mediated. In non-mediated there is no sheath, and instead of that neurolemma is quite thick, which neuron conducts impulse faster. As we know, message flow is just an ion exchange, so in the mediated this exchange only occurs at nodes of Ranvier, whereas in non-mediated it occurs an entire length. So, mediated neurons conduct impulses faster as impulse moves in a jumping manner, that is from one node of Ranvier to another, saltato reconduction. Whereas the nerve impulse in non-mediated is quite slow, impulse conduction through synapse. Under the microscope the axon end appears to be knob-like, which has synaptic vesicles in it. These synaptic vesicles store chemical neurotransmitter. We can clearly see the fluid in the synapse, and we can also see the receptors on the dendrites of another neuron. When the impulse reaches the axonal end, calcium ions are released from the neurolemma that stimulate the secretion of neurotransmitter from vesicles into the synapse. As the synaptic fluid moves, the neurotransmitter also moves, and as soon it touches the dendrite receptors of another neuron, the message is delivered. In response, the receptors secrete anti-neurotransmitter that further stops the secretion of neurotransmitter. Hence, this is how the impulse travels through the synapse. Nervous system and its parts. The nervous system is divided into different parts as shown. Central nervous system, it consists of two main parts, that is the brain and the spinal cord. They actually control the major part that refers to what to do, when to do and how to do. A response towards all stimulus. Peripheral nervous system, it refers to all the nerves that enter or leave the brain and the spinal cord. It includes all nerves, sensory, motor and mixed nerves. It is further divided into autonomic and voluntary nervous system. Autonomic nervous system, it controls all the activities that occur in a body by itself. It means activities of visceral organs. Voluntary nervous system, it controls all the activities that occur according to the will of person, like sitting, posture maintaining, etc. Both autonomic and voluntary system consist of parasympathetic and sympathetic nerves that are antagonistic in function and show their action on visceral organs. We have seen there are certain responses that are very fast. For example, if pin pricks your hand, your response is so fast that in a fraction of a second you withdraw your hand. These actions are called reflex actions. So let's follow reflex action. It is defined as the quick, spontaneous and autonomic response. We have receptors in our body that are actually specialized cells sensitive to different stimuli. For example, pain nanoreceptors, pressure thegoreceptors, temperature thermoreceptor. Mechanism of reflex action: suppose you touch a hot substance. The thermoreceptors of our hand gets activated and they generate an impulse to central nervous system through a sensory nerve. CNS analyzes and interprets its response to effect or organ via motor nerve. In this case, the effect on organ is muscles of our hand contracts and we withdraw our hand. The total path covered in reflex action is reflex arc. Human brain. It is the main controlling center of our body. It is the major part of CNS. It is present in a cavity called the skull. It is surrounded by a bony box known as the cranium. It is covered with membranes called the meninges. The fluid present in vacant spaces and between membranes is called the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. For brain. Cerebrum, it is the largest part of the brain that is roughly divided into two parts called the cerebral hemispheres. These parts are further divided into small parts that perform different functions. These hemispheres have certain lobes in it that perform certain important functions. Frontal, it controls the facial muscular activities. Temporal, it helps in hearing. Occipital, it helps in vision. Parietal, it controls the sensation of taste, touch, temperature, etc. Olfactory lobes, they are the prominent lobes and they help in producing sensation of smell. Midbrain, it has no subdivision and its function is to control some reflex actions. Hindbrain. Cerebellum, it is also like cerebrum but not too large. We can say it is the second largest part of the brain. It is also roughly divided into two parts called cerebellar hemispheres, which are further divided into small parts. Their major function is to control body movements and posture movement. Pons Verlii, it is the small ovoid body located near the brain stem. It controls some aspects of respiration. Medulla oblongata, it is the stem of the brain. It controls involuntary activities like coughing, sneezing, heartbeat, etc. Whenever we have any disorder or any problem which is related to brain, EEG is advised. EEG. It is the instrument that helps in recording electric signals generated in the brain. In this, the electrodes with vacuum pads are attached to the scalp of the patient and he is told to relax. This machine records the electric signals and is printed in the form of a graph. The graph consists of different types of waves I.E alpha, beta, delta and theta. The graph is called electroencephalograph. Spinal cord. It is the extension of medulla oblongata. The point from where it leads into spinal cord is called the foramen magnum. The spinal cord is divided into 5 regions. There are 32 pairs of nerves that are arising or terminating into spinal cord. Spinal cord has fluid CSF in it and from outside it is enclosed by the backbone. The function of the spinal cord is to control reflex actions. In plants also certain movements are seen which are controlled and coordinated by hormones as their bodies are not so complex and advanced. Phytohormones, The hormones present in plants are called phytohormones. Auxin, it is present on tip of the plant. It helps in growth of the plant, cell multiplication, cell enlargement, cell maturation, breaks seed dormancy. Gibberellin, it is also a growth hormone. It also promotes the growth of the plant as it increases the height of plant. Ethylene, it helps in ripening of fruits and vegetables. Cytokinin, it helps in closing of stomata and breaks seed dormancy. Abscisic acid, it is a negative hormone. It retards growth of plant, promotes senescence, and it causes premature falling of fruits and vegetables.
Tropic movements. The movement caused in the plant in response to stimulus are called tropic movements. The stimulus can be light, chemical, gravity, water, etc. Phototropism, it is the movement caused in plant or plant parts in response to the light. The stem moves towards light, so it is positively phototropic, and root moves away, so it is negatively phototropic. These movements are fixed and do not change with time or with direction of stimulus. Why plants droop when they are kept inside the room? The plant droops when it is kept inside the room, as it doesn't get complete sunlight, so the auxin gets accumulated only at one side. Therefore the growth occurs in only that region where auxin accumulates, therefore the plant droop. Geotropism, the movement caused in a plant in response to gravity. Similarly, in this root moves towards gravity, so it is positively geotropic, and stem is negatively geotropic. Chemotropism, the movement caused in plant in response to a chemical. For example, growth of pollen tube. As we see in case of pollen tube, that it grows and enter the embryo sac through micropyle. This is actually in response to chemical. Nastic movements, these are the movements that occur in the direction of stimulus. For example, it is seen in touch me not plant, Mimosa pudica. The stimulus for it is touch. When the leaves of touch me not plant are touched, it closes. Photoperiodism. It is the period of light for which the plant is exposed to sunlight. Actually, there is a blue-green pigment called phytochrome in the plant that responds to light. Some plants need more light, some need less light, or some need neither more nor less sunlight. Accordingly, plants are classified as long-day plants, short-day plants, or day-neutral plants. It has been seen that flowering plants require less light and more dark period, whereas vegetative require more light and less darkness, and there are few vegetative that require both in the same amount. The other system that is responsible for control and coordination in humans is hormonal system. Hormones are the certain chemicals released in our bodies that help in control and coordination of the body. Hormones are secreted by endocrine glands. Actually, there are two types of glands in our body. Exocrine gland. Endocrine gland. Exocrine gland, they are with ducts, they secrete enzymes, their secretion reach the target organ. Example, liver. Endocrine gland. A. They are without duct. B. They secrete hormones. C. Their secretion reach by blood. Example, thyroid gland. The study of endocrine glands and their secretion is called endocrinology. Characteristics of hormones. They are secreted in small amounts. They are secreted by endocrine glands. They act only on target organ. They are either proteinous, steroids, etc. They reach target organ through blood. Pituitary gland, it is located in the midbrain. It is also called the master gland of our body, as it secretes some important hormones. The functioning of it is controlled by a part of the brain called the hypothalamus. Growth hormone, it helps in growth of body. If secreted in excess, gigantism. If secreted in less amount, dwarfism. Prolactin, it helps in the development of mammary glands. Oxytocin, birth hormone, it helps in the secretion of milk through these mammary glands. ADH, it helps in osmoregulation. Tropic hormone, it looks after the secretion from other glands. Thyroid gland, it is bilobed gland located in the neck. It secretes thyroxine and thyroxin, helps in controlling metabolism of fats, proteins and carbohydrates. Malfunctioning of this gland causes thyroid in adults and cretinism. And pancreas, it is located below the stomach. It is the only gland that is endocrine as well as exocrine in function. Its endocrine part is islets of Langhams. Hormones secreted by it are: insulin, lowers blood glucose level; glucagon, increases blood glucose level. Deficiency of it causes diabetes mellitus. Adrenal gland, it is located on the kidneys. It secretes adrenaline and corticoid. Adrenaline, it prepares the body for action, it acts as a neurotransmitter, it controls our feelings of love, fear, thirst, etc. It is called emergency gland, and adrenaline is emergency hormone. Ovaries, it is female gonad. It secretes estrogen, female sex hormone, egg production, controls sexual characters in females like widening of pelvic region, development of breast, pubic hairs, etc. It also secretes progesterone, which controls pregnancy. It also helps in relaxing and in delivery. Testis, it is male gonad. It secretes testosterone, male sex hormone, sperm production, also help in developing sexual characters in males, like mustaches, beard, pubic hairs, widening of shoulders, etc.